is Masterclass. Oh, oh.
Do you want to know the current update in immigration law and how to regularize your stay in the UK? With the recent changes in the law, your position may have changed. You need to visit us today at Grace Spring Solicitors and you'll be glad you did.
Immigration, employment, divorce and family, litigation.
Grace Spring Solicitors will offer bespoke legal services tailored to your needs, especially in the areas of immigration. Are you an overstayer? Call us on our 24-hour helpline and we'll be glad you did. Grace Spring Solicitors.
Timely intervention, timeless results.
Hello viewers, thank you for joining the program. This is Masterclass, the program that discusses issues, mind-boggling issues. Thank you for joining us. We're going to continue from discussions from last week. I'm happy to obviously let you know that we have a guest with us today. So today's program is going to be more interactive. I'm so excited about it. So I'm going to be introducing our guest to this program today. Her name is Claudette Cameron. Thank you for joining us, Claudette.
Thank
We're
you for
happy
having me.
to have you here today. You look beautiful, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Unfortunately, you weren't here last week, so I'll just sort of mention briefly. We talked about domestic violence last week. We talked intensely about how it comes about, what's the after effects of domestic violence, how it affects women, how it affects children. But the issue is that these men, the perpetrators of this domestic violence, they're humans. They're men who originally saw women, a man who originally had seen a woman, loved her, fell in love with her, decided that they would be together. So and then suddenly turns into a monster, start using this woman as a punching bag. I understand that as a professional, you work with youths, with young men between the ages of 16 and 25. What are the challenges that some of these men face within this society today? Can you briefly tell our viewers?
Is that mostly to do with domestic violence or just in general?
In general, I would like to say in general, because sometimes we sort of look at things in a straight-jacketed way. We really don't know the causes. What would turn a man into a monster? Could it be from the background where he's coming from? Is it that he himself, he experienced domestic violence? Maybe he saw his mom being battered by his dad. Could it be something that obviously has been in there that he couldn't discuss with anybody? So it encompasses everything, really. Can you just sort of...
Well, first of all, I think when boys turn into men, there's a lot of challenges that men find, especially a lot of them don't really communicate that well. They're taught to be hunters, and women are taught to be submissive, quite submissive really. So when they now come into relationships, depending on their background, if they've had a nurturing background or if they've had a background that was male dominated and the woman was submissive, is various things but what I've experienced with young people that I work with is that sometimes, depending on why the man is in the relationship in the first place, what I've noticed in society is there's a lot of people that don't really have a good upbringing and their parents have thrown them out, and when they now come to live by themselves, they haven't really learned much about life. They haven't had that opportunity, whether it be when they've lived by themselves or when they was being grown up in the home. Now, lots of men I've noticed these days, I'll go back a bit. There isn't really a lot of housing for single people. So I find that a lot of women sometimes have babies to get flats, or men now find a girlfriend, moves in with the girl, and if the relationship now breaks down, then they either find another girlfriend and move in with, instead of trying to find something of their own. So the relationship sometimes there's a lot of frustration because both parties haven't really spent time getting to know each other.
That's
They
correct.
don't, you know, they haven't had enough personal development or encountered much personal development to find out what's required from themselves or for them to be in a
So
relationship.
what you're trying to say, Claudette, in essence, is they haven't got the life skills.
Yeah.
So they think moving in with a young man sees a young girl and obviously likes her physique, falls in love with her, and then moves in. They're not thinking of how are we going to take this relationship further. What are the things? What are the challenges that we're going to face during this relationship? So in essence, that these are men and even women who are not they may not even know the difference between what is right and what is wrong.
Yeah.
Am I correct?
Yeah.
You said something about having a proper upbringing.
Yeah.
As in, obviously, looking down their background, it's possible that nobody actually properly raised them.
Yeah.
They've been on the streets for so long, facing challenges, frustrations, and things like that. And then they've met this woman, and then obviously she takes him in. He doesn't have any life skills.
Yeah.
And he's been taught again. You mentioned, I remember you mentioning, whereby he's been taught that he's the man.
Yeah.
So he should be in control. And then he's been taught that there's this general one that men don't cry.
Yeah.
So he mustn't be seen to be weak. So he must always be macho, even when he's down emotionally. He shouldn't show it.
Yeah.
You understand? So it's something that is built. It's an overspillage of something that he's been. The youths, they've been sort of piling up a pile up of emotions, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you like.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, go on.
In the instance where it's a single parent home and there's no male role model, a positive one,
Yeah.
it's a challenge. And even when there is two parents in the home, it's a challenge because it all depends on the experience of parenting that the parents have acquired
Themselves.
or if they've discussed together of how we're going to raise these children. But even so, there's so many things, that contribute to a man's behaviour.
That's correct.
There's lots of things that contribute. I mean, the parents could have done their best, they could have gone to the best schools or not the best schools, but everyone's got a personal responsibility to themselves. So even if you was brought up in a home where there was no nurturing, the dad was absent at work or the mum wasn't there or whatever, it helps a lot. But then individuals need to have some kind of personal discipline and responsibility, and I do think that in the schools play a massive role. In the schools, they've taken out the Christianity part, which was of benefit, and in my opinion, when there was either prayer in schools or anything relating to some kind of discipline in prayer or something like that, things were different, but things just seem to have gotten out of hand. They've got young people haven't got if they're not in a religion or Christianity, there's nothing to measure how to manage your behaviour.
But then, if you're pushing it back to the school, I think the parents, they have the responsibility to nurture their children.
Yeah.
So I would recommend a situation where, like for example, we're talking about the
home,
men, the men now, the youths, the
Yeah.
boys who obviously grow up to become men, and I think there are the fathers. They have a responsibility,
Of course,
to nurture, because knowing that tomorrow that boy, that son of yours, is a young boy today. He's going to be a husband tomorrow. He's going to be the head of the home tomorrow.
Yeah.
So the parents, most especially the father, he has a challenge, a responsibility
vital role,
to build the character
Yeah.
of that boy, of that male child. You understand?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter the relationship with the mother. When two adults come together and then subsequently there are problems in the relationship, the children shouldn't be made to suffer in such a relationship. And a situation whereby the relationship between these two adults, that's the man and the woman, has broken down, and maybe they've gone their separate ways. The woman shouldn't make it difficult for the man
to see
to
the
access
children.
the children, to see the children, because it creates a kind of balance. You have to think, especially when the man is not posing a risk to the life of the child. I've seen situations where even women, they make up stories in order that the husband will not have contact, or the partner will not have contact with the child. They make up stories that, oh, the man has been violent, or he's been beating up, violent towards her and the child. You have to think about the future impact of such lies in the life of the child, because as far as the father wants to be involved in the life of the child, you should allow him access, especially when in any way he has not been violent towards the child. The relationship, when you and that man started, those children, they were not there. So you don't, when now the relationship has broken down, you don't put the children in between, thinking that you want to use the children to fight the man. You are trying to the woman is trying to satisfy her own self at the detriment of the children. Because when it's like there's a parable that when two elephants fight, then it's the grass that suffers. So the children now becomes the one that will suffer over a relationship that they were not there when the two of you decided to be together. You understand? So the women, they should allow the men access to their children, because it helps to build the children. It's enough challenge and enough stress emotionally for the child, knowing that mom and dad, they are no more together, and then they have to be changing schools, changing homes, changing the community where they've known for a long time. It's enough emotional trauma for the child, but it's again additional trauma for a child, especially when the father wants to be involved in the life of that child, and you as a mother, you are using it as a tool to get back at the man, refusing the man access to the children. Think of the emotional detriment to the child later in life. And then sometimes the women, they try to brainwash the child, saying to the child, oh, your dad doesn't love you, he was never there anyway.
Oh, he's dead.
Or sometimes they go to the extent of even lying to this child that the father is dead. So what kind of a child do you want to raise? How would you're thinking about now, in 20 years' time, this child finds out that his dad is not dead. How is he going to accept this kind of lies? How is he ever going to trust a woman? It could affect the any subsequent relationship this child now enters into with another woman. Because his mother, remember, as the mother or the father of a child, you are the first point of call. You are the first relationship that child ever created. From the first day that the child came to the world, you are the first point of call. So the first relationship the first group of people that the child ever knew in life is the mom and the dad. So if you as the mother or the father, and you are lying to this child saying, oh, your mom was never there for you, or your dad was never there, or he died, when the child now realizes that the father is somewhere alive, will this child ever believe another woman? He will never. At the back of his mind, because his mom lied to him, so he would think that all women are liars. And then if the child sees the dad hitting the mom, what is the impact to the child later in life, in another 20 years' time? How will this child respond to relationships? It's going to affect him. That's why you find that sometimes when children from dysfunctional homes now go into relationships, they become quite unstable emotionally. So in making decisions, in fighting each other, we must think about the interest of these children. The children did not ask to be born. You made an informed decision to bring these children to this world. We must break the cycle of domestic violence. We must break this cycle of instability in our homes. We must break this cycle of instability in relationships. We must decide make an informed decision to deliberately go into a relationship, looking at things that will build us, not looking at artificial things, superficial things like money and handsomeness and a big house, big car. Those are not the things that make up a relationship.
You made a good point about to do with women, to do with bring it back to domestic violence, to do with maybe it's not about the woman, but the thing is, for a man that it goes out into the world and finds themselves in relationships, a lot of the times when they haven't got a good relationship with their mum, that affects any woman they get into relationships with.
That's right.
I mean, even women, if they've not had a good relationship with their dad, it tends to,